right, Cheryl, would you like to kick us off?
I would. Hi, welcome to Careers in Community Management. My name is Cheryl Murphy, and I am the Executive Director for CAI Illinois. And I'd like to start by first thanking our sponsors because their support allows us to provide webinars like the one today at no charge to you. So thank you to Cornerstone Partners Horticultural Services, Dickler Kahn Slowakowski and Zavel, DuBois Paving Company, and First Citizens Bank. And then before we get into the heart of the presentation, just going to give you a little background on CAI and some of the statistics on why you're making a good choice to be part of this industry. So Community Associations Institute has been around a really long time. In fact, we celebrate our 50th anniversary this year. I think Kara is sporting the 50th anniversary t-shirt today. And so there are 355,000 community associations that exist today. 8,000 new community associations will be created in the US this year. 82% of new home construction in 2021 was in a community association, and 127,000 people in Illinois serve as volunteer leaders in their community associations. So, I mean, all that just to say this is a really big industry and one that needs expertise and guidance from people like you and CAI. CAI has 64 chapters worldwide with over 45,000 members. The Illinois chapter, which is who we are, we're the 6th largest of those chapters. We have 1,584 members and we are growing. But really, so we have a small staff of 6 people. Jamie and I are 2 of those 6, but really the heart of our organization is our over 150 volunteers that serve on 16 committees. You're going to hear from several of those volunteers today who are speaking for you today. That's a lot of data, but really it all boils down to the mission of CAI Illinois, which is to provide education, legislative advocacy, and professional service resources to achieve excellence in community associations. And as a community association manager, you can directly help achieve that excellence in communities. So I hope you will go down that path. If you do decide to move forward down the path, membership in CAI makes a lot of sense. If for nothing else, the first reason I'll say is a price difference. So the very first class that you would take to become a manager is called the M100. And if you're a member, it's $100 less than if you're a non-member, and membership is only $149. So that first step almost pays for itself. But in addition to that, you'll get a lot of additional benefits like access to an online exchange where you can ask questions and get answers. You can earn career designations, which is what we're going to talk about today. You have access to award-winning publications. You can speak, you can write. There's a whole library of educational topics. So it's really a beneficial association for you in your career. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jamie Carlson. She is our program and event manager so that she can let you know a little bit more about the webinar today and the path that you can take as a CAM.
Thanks, Cheryl. As she mentioned, I'm Jamie Carlson. I'm program and events manager for CAI Illinois. Before we get started into the meat of the session, I just wanted to go over some housekeeping items. Firstly, throughout the presentation, I'll be putting some handouts and links in the chat that correspond with the topic being discussed. These will also be emailed to everyone in attendance following the presentation. The chat function of this webinar has been disabled, but the Q&A function is active and can be used at any time to submit questions. Questions can be submitted anytime because they'll be monitored. They'll be asked throughout the presentation. If your question's not asked immediately when you submit it, please know we'll still have time at the end to get to everyone's questions. When submitting a question, please submit a whole question rather than something like, can you clarify that? Or can you repeat that? Can you just please detail out what it is you're talking about so that if we have to circle back, we can touch on everyone's question. If you're viewing the webinar right now in a group setting, please send me the list of attendees that are there with their email addresses so I can send them the handouts and materials as well as a follow-up email to the feedback survey. Okay, boring part is over. A little bit about me. Prior to this, I started my career as a part-time customer service representative at a small management company right out of high school. I worked my way up to being a licensed manager. In the 7 years between, I worked in HR, accounts payable and receivable, and administration at management companies, eventually obtaining my community association manager license, CMCA designation, and AMS designation. The education we cover here is the result of the efforts of the Manager Education Committee, and it's important to me personally because this career has changed the course of my life, and it was something I never intended to do. And I considered myself someone who just had a job and wasn't necessarily important to the grand scheme of things. But furthering my career through designations and improving myself is something I wouldn't trade for anything. Everyone on this call is an important part of their individual companies and the industry as a whole. And we hope that we're going to inspire you today to further your career here, whatever that means for you. As you hear about the different steps to obtaining a license and furthering your education, I strongly suggest that you ask your supervisor what, if any, reimbursement or scholarship programs they have available for employees interested in joining CAI, obtaining their license, or pursuing further credentials. About the webinar today, we will cover each of the designations that can be earned as a community manager and renewal and continuing education information, as well as hearing some inspiring stories of those who have earned their title as industry veteran. Current managers on the call, please do not hesitate to submit some positive experiences you've had throughout your career so that those who are not current managers, we can share in those moments at the end of the presentation. Without further ado, I will turn it over to Jason, our moderator for this afternoon, to introduce himself and get started.
Thank you, Jamie. Like you said, my name is Jason Mitchell. I am actually working as an on-site manager now with First Service Residential. But I got into the industry very differently, I think, than a lot of people. I actually used to own my own painting company, and through just different relationships, got introduced to a couple of property managers and began bidding on projects with different property management companies. And as I was kind of growing in the direction that the direction my career was going, I really kind of connected with what was Lieberman Management Services at the time. And I ended up bringing my painting company into the construction side of the management company, offering different maintenance services to associations and things, but working under the umbrella of the management company. And after after a few years, I really began to realize that although I really enjoyed the property management side, I wasn't always enjoying the construction side. And so I actually had stepped away from the management company for a couple of years. While I was gone, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get my license. I really realized I enjoy property management. I don't necessarily enjoy the construction stuff. I'm going to go get my license, and I'm going to. So that was where I kind of came back into the industry, starting with CAI, taking my M100 course, really beginning to just learn my own desire, and really just kind of took off from there to get my AMS. And so I'm excited about this webinar because I think that all of us have a journey that we've taken and that we've been on in our careers, whether we started in that direction or whether we ended up where we are. All of us have a story that we have experienced, and this education and these credentials really help us in fostering that. So before we get started, I would just like all of the presenters to just do a quick introduction of themselves, and then we'll circle back and get started.
Okay, great. My name is Melissa Kahn, and I am the founder of Retro Community Management.
Hi there. I am Kara Cermak. I have a horrible delay, so I'm so sorry. I'm the Senior Vice President of Real Manage Illinois.
My name is Gordon Chavone. I am with Villa Management.
I'm Brittany Kozarek, and I am the Chief Operating Officer of Property Specialists.
Awesome. All right. Well, at this point, we're gonna have Melissa kick us off with the CMCA. So, Melissa, why don't you take it away?
Okay, great. Before I go into the CMCA, I just give you a little bit of background for my history as my journey went through community association management. So I have experience of 20 years. I hold two certifications, a CMCA and a PCAM. I started my career actually on the leasing side, and that really wasn't for me. Then I went to new home sales, and that really wasn't for me. And then eventually I found my niche in the community association management. For years of experience, I have refined my experience in the industry as a community manager. I've served as a portfolio manager, a regional manager, and a director of operations. Overseeing multiple communities and mentoring managers that come in into our organization. I'm very passionate about making a meaningful impact. I took initiative in starting my own company that combines my love for this industry with a strong desire to serve our communities. I'm committed to our growth in seeing more and more new managers coming into this field, and I'm pretty excited about this webinar. I am going to kind of go over the CMCA and what that means. So CMCA is the Certified Manager of Community Associations. It is a certification program for managers of homeowners and condominium associations and cooperatives. The CMCA is recognized by individuals who demonstrate fundamental knowledge required to manage an association. Management companies should hire a CMCA that they will demonstrate the commitment and the quality of service. In the growing and competitive community management field, clients demand skilled managers who deliver superior service. Community leaders are looking to hire companies that employ qualified professionals. Hiring only certified managers will instill confidence and demonstrate a commitment to providing your clients with quality professional service. In return, you'll be better able to retain clients and build your business. Association homeowners and board members, as well as management companies, seek qualified professionals to manage their communities. Attaining a CMCA certification will give both you and your employer the confidence that you need and your skills that you will need.
All right, excellent. Now we're going to move on to Gordon. Well, Gordon, why don't you take us from here?
All right. I've been in the community association manager for 25 years with Villa Management. And my story is a little bit different than, again, like everybody else. I was in retail management for 18 years, 120 per week. Burnt out. I said, I can't do this anymore. This is too much stress, if you will. So I then started working for a contractor who did association repairs, gutter repairs, roof, concrete, and different associations. And at the same time, I was a board member, vice president of my community association. So one thing led to another. Based on that experience, I had an opportunity to interview with the principal owner of Villa Management for property management or association management job. Interesting there was during the interview process, he said, now, you know, we work a lot of hours. We could work 60 or 70 a week. And I said to myself, 120, 70. I think I might buy into this. Let's continue the interview. And as one thing led to another, and 25 years later, here I am. What I found at the beginning was that if I had known from the get-go, really known about the education and the continuing education and jumping into it, I would have jumped in from day one. That would be my advice to my younger self. Don't wait, get started. And I'm thankful for that, because I've had ups and downs, and I've had more success, way more successes since I've gotten the education that I needed, and that gave me the sign of when I'm with an association or talking to the board members, and I have the certification, they understand, like, he knows maybe for sure what he's talking about. And there's an integrity with the designations. There's a ability to be trusted with the designations, and folks tend to say, listen to you. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. You have bad situations, but you have, because of what you've learned, you have been able to work around it and make that a better situation for everyone. I'm going to talk about the first thing I want to talk about is now that you have gotten your CMCA, the next thing you need to do is you need to get your state of Illinois license. And it's a simple process, going on the IDFPR website and then filling out the application, and because it's crucial, you must be a licensed community association manager in the state of Illinois. The next certification to get, and probably for me, it was the most important, obviously, was the AMS, the Association Management Specialist. And that requires you to pass two, what we call M200 courses. We have 6 of them. M201 is facilities management. M202 is association communications. 203 is community leadership. 204 is community governance. 205 is risk management, and 206 is financial management. These are all encompasses the entire industry in my mind, and without those, there's going to be this tendency of missing out on something you need to get across. You know, I look at it kind of this way. I need a strong foundation to build a house, and this gives me that strong foundation so I can build a house. And I'm also reminded of the example of give a man a fish and he can eat. Teach a man how to fish and he can fish forever. And that's what I think this education will do, always has done, and always be looking for the next webinar, the next opportunity, because everything that we are presented by CAI is crucial and helps us grow. I'm still growing now, being in the industry 25 years, and I look forward for the next thing and the next thing, because education I cannot do without it, and growth I cannot do without it. And with the education, I get the growth.
Awesome. Thank you, Gordon. Now we're going to move on to Brittany, who's going to share with us about the PCAM, the ever coveted certification at the top of the education pyramid.
I'm just going to take the words right out of my presentation, Jason. Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Kozarek. A little bit about myself. I was born into this industry, and not by choice. I started my career 18 years ago with property specialists. My mother is Kathy Ryan, who is our current CEO and president. And I was 15 at the time, and I started as a file clerk. And what it really was a part-time job provided to me while I went through school. So I continued to work part-time in management through the different departments, receptionist, accounts receivables, accounts payables, briefly, with the majority of my career being in the assessments while I worked through college. At the end of my bachelor degree, I was going to go to law school and manager licensing hit. And at that time, I saw a growing need in my company that I currently worked for licensed community association managers. So I decided to take a leap and make community association management my career. I proceeded to go out of order. I started with governance, which was M206, I believe, or 204, one of the ones Gordon just named off. Then went for the M100, then the CMCA. Following that, I decided to get involved with our local chapter, the Community Association Institute Illinois chapter, with volunteering and expanding my network. Eventually earning my AMS credential, and then finally getting up the nerve to go for my PCAM. I had watched others, including my mother, complete her PCAM, and I have a bachelor in political science and history, and I've written many countless papers, and I watched her do that while I was doing my dissertation for college, and was pretty much like, wow, I don't want to do that ever. It's not that scary. It really isn't. It's actually very exciting. So I'm going to go a little bit into explaining to you what the PCAM is. I'm going to read some facts to you from our CAI headquarters. And then I'll explain to you a little bit about my journey through my PCAM. Excuse me. So I keep saying PCAM. What is that? So a PCAM is our professional community association manager. It's the designation, and it's the highest one a community association manager can earn in their career. By earning your PCAM, you become part of an exclusive and elite group of professionals in our industry who took their careers to that next level, the top of the pyramid, as Jason says. Why should you get your PCAM eventually? Like I said, it can be a daunting, kind of nervous, and makes it a little scary. While our foundation surveys have shown that management companies and association clients prefer PCAM credentialed candidates over others, it also increases your salary potential. Our surveys show that a PCAM can earn $31,000 more on average. Additionally, your PCAM, as well as your CMCA and your AMS, are internationally recognized. Your prerequisites for getting your PCAM: you need 5 years of direct community association management experience. You need to successfully complete all 6 of the M200 level courses Gordon touched on, with at least one of them being within the last 5 years of applying for your PCAM. Excuse me. And you must have your CMCA. In addition, you must earn a minimum of 125 points on the application for your PCAM, which includes a minimum of 55 points earned in Section 2. You might be saying, what is Section 2, Brittany? We're not looking at that application. Well, that's your industry-related education programs and your organization-related service through volunteering in various capacities. So whether you sit on a board of directors as a homeowner leader, you volunteer through your chapter's committees, you write articles for industry publications, all of that counts toward it. So if you're on this call and you potentially have your CMCA or AMS and you're thinking one day you want to earn your PCAM, I strongly encourage you to get involved, because that'll make that daunting application process a lot smoother. It also really helped me organically build the growth and knowledge that I have in this industry. What do you do now? So now you've submitted your application. Now you have to take the PCAM case study. So the PCAM case study is a comprehensive examination of an actual community association, combining discussion with an extensive tour of a host association. There are 2 in-person, I call them class days, where you'll explore the community in depth, reviewing its administrative procedures, legal documents, and communications. In addition, you'll get to meet virtually with its manager, board members, and key personnel, such as their attorneys or accountants. Each virtual offering features a video tour and live interviews via Zoom. You'll be encouraged to ask questions and openly discuss issues faced by the association in either format. Following those 2 days and questions, you then have 30 days to complete your PCAM paper. Your PCAM paper is 10 questions. I like to call them 10 categories with sub-questions. And you then get to creatively provide guidance to a community association that you normally wouldn't manage. The PCAM prior to COVID was only held in person, and you either had to travel to the state that it was being held in that year or wait for it to come to your state. Since COVID, they do now offer virtual and in-person case studies. My PCAM journey. So I finally got up the gall to do my PCAM because colleagues in my office were doing it. And I was like, I am not going to be the last one. And an Illinois case study was coming. And so they all signed up for that one. There was a problem though. I was delivering a child via cesarean C-section on the day of the in-class. So I got stuck with the next one, which happened to be one of the first virtuals. And my association was in Colorado. Waited to the last minute, watched the virtual tour the night before the class, and basically went, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? My association that my case study was on had equestrian centers and 23 sub-associations, and I just thought I was in over my head. Had a little bit of a moment, sat through the 2-day class, read some documents, and really then got to work. Your case study is an avenue for you to put all of your advice and knowledge and your guidance to paper and apply it in actual real life scenarios. So one of the things to get the association to participate in the PCAM, that association is awarded the top 2 papers or top 1 paper following it. So they're really applying for it because they're looking to get some guidance out of it. So when you interview with those board members, for instance, in my case study, they said, you know, we are having a struggle getting people to join. So one of my case study questions was create an event that is going to foster community within that association. That was exciting for me because I hadn't had an association within my career that asked me to do that. So it got to use different skills, different levels. And then after that, you submit your paper and you await. And I can tell you that, again, I have my bachelor's degree, I have my PCAM. My PCAM is framed on my wall, and my bachelor's degree is still in some USPS envelope. It was sent to me in 10 years ago. With that, I will wrap up my PCAM section. I'm going to turn it over to Kara Cermak, who's going to talk to you about what you do after.
All right. Hey, I'm Kara Cermak, and my delay is gone. I have a similar story to Brittany, except my mom started our company 50 years ago, literally the same year that CAI was formed. And you know what? 50 years ago, that was before women owned their own businesses. So I do want to do a shout out because our industry has a huge contingent of women, and we are building strong, brilliant women in this industry. And my delay is back, so I'm really sorry. I started in the industry as a kid. I actually was doing processing assessment payments when I started. And we were writing violation letters on a typewriter. There's no computers. There's no windows. There was none of that. So I am old. So this is my 33rd year in the industry, and I have served on the local CAI board for, I think, 6 years it was. And then I served on the national CAI board of trustees. I've been involved in programs nationally, and I'm a CAI instructor. And I tell you all of that, not because, woo, look at me, but because there's so much you can do within this industry to educate yourself, to become stronger and better, and give back to the people in the industry. They, just like the people before me that taught me, we have to teach the next generation. This is an amazing industry. It is never boring. It is, it's fun, really. And, you know, Brittany was talking about the PCAM case study. I loved it. And I realized that I am very weird, but I loved it because I got to actually manage a property the way I wanted to manage it, you know, because I didn't have to go through some process where the board was going to approve what I wrote down. It was the way I wanted to do it. So I thought it was so fun, you guys. So I loved the PCAM case study. You know, work your way through these designations and then think about giving back, whether that is being a volunteer CAI instructor, whether it's writing articles for the local magazine, which we all know is amazing, common interest. So let me tell you a little bit about continuing education requirements and the benefits of, you know what, should I just turn my video off? This is ridiculous. Is that a huge
No,
delay?
you're still good. You're still
It's
good.
okay. Sorry. I just had to ask. Okay. So continuing education for your CMCA, which is actually a different organization, that's CAMICB, but the continuing education and all of the what's put into the CMCA really started with CAI. We are by far the industry organization, the very best one, the one that you want to stay with and be relevant. Continuing education, I mean, think about it. 33 years in the industry, started on a typewriter. So if I didn't keep getting myself educated, I wouldn't be relevant any longer. If I didn't know what all the technological advances are, I wouldn't be as relevant as I am now. It takes work to continue after this many years being relevant. So after you get your AMS designation, you have to have 8 hours of industry related education before you then redesignate. You know, you have to fill out a form and say, yep, here's all the stuff I did. What I want to tell you is that we only have a few states that have these amazing legal forums. And we're one of them. So California, DC, Virginia, and Illinois, those are the only ones that have their own local big events where you can, and specifically for us, the legal forum, you can actually get 12 hours of continuing education just from the legal forum itself. Additionally, we have our annual expo, which is amazing. You get to meet all the people in the industry, and that's really where the fun is, because we all have just a little bit of being off, right? Because anybody that's loving this is just a little bit. So what's great is that we all know each other, we all love each other, we all support one another, regardless of the fact that we're competitors. It's really about building one another up and learning and making communities better. Really, that's what it's about, making communities better. If we can make communities better, what if that bubbles up into our local elections and our local representation, and then ideally federally, because we're all looking to work better together. It has to start somewhere. So let's be where it starts. So the expo, our coming expo is, I think it's in April. I can't remember, or no, maybe it's the other way around.
It's February 9th.
February 9th. Thank you. And you can get 6 hours of continuing education there. So we have so many options for you. Before you, for instance, when you fill out your form for the PCAM, you have to have not just the classes completed, but you need to be providing industry related other educational things. So whether it's writing for Common Interest magazine or writing for a newsletter, it could be being a speaker, because we're always looking for great speakers. So that's the other ways that you can actually earn these points. And you just want to keep doing those things. It's more than just making sure you can redesignate yourself. It's about learning. We all need to be learning all the time on how we do this better. So thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. We're ready for questions, I think.
Thanks. Before we throw it back to Jason for some Q&A time with the presenters here, I wanted to touch on one thing. Cheryl, the biggest question that I probably get as the local credential go-to person here in the office is when renewing, they're trying to renew with CAMICB, but they're calling us and it's not working on our website. Can you touch a little bit on the differences between the organizations and how those work for renewals and credits.
Yes, it's important for managers to understand there really are 3 or even 4 different organizations that you will be involved with through your membership and renewals and license and all of that. So one, you have us, CAI Illinois, your local chapter, and from us, you get your local education, you get some continuing education credits, that type of thing. But we are part of the CAI national headquarters, and that's where your M100 course comes from, your M200 courses come from. So that registration and payment goes through the CAI national headquarters. We may help facilitate that, but really we're the same entity, but they schedule and administer those courses. Your membership also goes through the CAI headquarters, right? So that is 1.5 organizations right there. Then when you get your CMCA, that is actually administered through another organization Kara touched on called CAM-ICB. They are not CAI. So when you renew your membership through CAI, that is not renewing your CMCA. When you renew your CMCA, that is not renewing your CAI membership. People get confused about that a lot. We get those calls very often. What do you mean I'm not a member? I just sent in my thing to CAM-ICB. Well, that's not membership. So it's 2 different things. Then there's the third entity, which is the state of Illinois, where if you get a CAM license, you need to do that renewal also through the state of Illinois, the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. And to make it even more confusing, a lot of these renewals come in the same month. So August in, every certain year, several different renewals come up. So you think, oh, I just sent that in, except that was your CAM license renewal. It wasn't your CAI designation renewal. So we just try to keep you on your toes and make sure that you keep it all in order. But as you start going in this process, just understand that it is truly 3 different organizations, 3 different renewal processes, 3 different designations, certifications, or licenses that you are keeping up. And we do get quite a few calls on that. So if you start off your journey knowing that, you are already ahead of the game.
But don't hesitate to reach out, because we do have a world of resources at your disposal.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
And Cheryl, I think there's an event if they have more questions or want to know.
Yeah,
more.
so tonight we are having a membership happy hour in Schaumburg. It's on it's at Antirium from 4 to 6 p.m. If you are not yet a member, you can come for free and learn more about CAI and talk to some other members. If you are already a member, come join us as well. There's a small fee, but we would love to see you, and you can learn a little bit more about the industry and hear from other people who have, not just managers, but other, homeowners and business partners, as well as some managers and CAI staff.
And also, Kara mentioned the conference and expo in February. There is a free ticket if you just want to come to the expo, kind of see what it's all about, get to know the industry a little bit, grab a friend, grab a group, find some other people from your company that are going. I guarantee you there's at least one person from your company coming. Just to go to the expo hall is completely free, just to walk around big expo hall in Rosemont. Lots of giveaways, lots of fun things to be had, but also kind of get a feel for the community Kara was talking about, because in that room, we all work for the same thing. In that room, nobody is separate from each other. You'll see friendships amongst other companies and a lot of working together for the industry. That would be a great first step. If you can't make the membership drive today, to just go and see what it truly is about and see kind of the fun community side of the industry as it is. So thank you, Cheryl. I think I don't see any Q&As in the box. If you do have a question, please be sure to submit those. We do have some extra time left here. Jason has a couple things to touch on with our presenters, so I will let Jason take it away.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for the presentation. It was very informational and educational. So I'm going to ask, because I have questions that I like to ask. And part of it really is kind of born out of my own experience in getting after my education. So one of the things that not everybody might know that's watching this is that of our presenters, we have 3 people who have achieved their PCAM. 2 of them admittedly said that they were born into the industry, and one who achieved it outside of being born into the industry. So my first question is, how long did it take you to get your PCAM?
30 days.
Yeah, so for me, I had to wait for every one of the classes to come to Illinois. So I think it was like 6 years before I could actually get through all of the classes and then the case study. Because, I had small children. We couldn't, smaller company, we couldn't afford to fly me all over. So it's so amazing now because you can actually fast track it. And there are requirements for the amount of experience that you need. But you can really, be taking those classes while you get that experience. So it was long for me.
Yeah.
I was about 5 years. Same with Kara. I had to wait for them to come into Illinois. And also that extra experience that you need, that you didn't think that you would ever need it, but until you get that application, you need it. So just make sure that you're getting involved, because it will help you in the long run.
Yeah.
That's good. Excellent.
I got my CMCA in 2013, my AMS in 2017, and then my PCAM in 2021. So about 7 years between. I was lucky enough that I did have options for virtual after taking part of the 200 courses. I did have colleagues that wanted to jump on board and take it when it hit Illinois. So they crammed all their, last 3 courses into a month. It can be done. But the one thing I do want to stress that, Melissa just touched on again, and we've touched on during this presentation, is how much getting involved is going to help you in your process. If getting your PCAM is something that you are going to strive to do, which if you're going to make community association management your career, I strongly urge you to. Getting involved is necessary. And it's not only necessary for that application, but it's necessary to your job. I mean, I couldn't do it without this 1,500 member organization in Illinois and, internationally, even larger, leaning on my resources from homeowner volunteers and leaders to other management companies and managers and our business partners. Join a committee. It's really how you're going to start to, really develop and learn in this field. And that truly is something that you can't put a dollar amount to.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So that actually leads me to my next question, and this might be one that that Cheryl, or Jamie may be able to answer that. Obviously, when COVID hit and a lot of things went virtual, there was a lot more opportunity of taking virtual classes. So how much of a PCAM process would you say could be done virtually?
The whole thing.
Yeah.
I think even communications now is the only 200 course that they used to not offer virtually is now even offered virtually.
Yeah, it is. Because I teach it. Yeah, you
I was
can
going to
do
say,
it
Kara,
all.
you can teach that one.
Well, the classes you can do all virtually, but the experience part,
Right.
there's enough experience part in the application that you would need to be involved, or you need to speak, or writing, obviously you can, kind of do that and send that in through a virtual, but other than the classes, there is still some other, maybe you guys can talk about what other things that are on that application that people need to think about. We do get that question in the office too. And, again, you think when I started out this part of it and saying people need to understand these are 3 different organizations and 3 different renewals, the people who are calling and asking these questions are often people who've been in the industry a long time. So, I think that sometimes people get surprised, right? So we'll get a call of someone who's been in the industry for a really long time, and they've been wanting to go for their PCAM for a long time, and they've been working toward it, and they've been doing all the education, and then they go to fill out the application, and suddenly they realize, oh, it's actually a lot more than the education, and then they're trying to cram in all this experience stuff, and there isn't necessarily enough time to get all that done. And we do our best to try to help them with writing articles or, being on a committee, but sometimes you have to do that for a period of time and then it's too late. So if that's a goal you have, look at it before you're done with all the education and you just think you're going to send in an application.
Absolutely. And, I'm just gonna grab the reins here because I have it in front of me. Kara probably has it memorized, but you get different points for different leadership. So from being in a leadership level at CI headquarters to being in a leadership level at your chapter, whether that is on a committee or at the board level, or even a task force, which isn't a standing committee, but maybe was set up for some sort of initiative and then dissolved. You can also be a speaker. For instance, Kara mentioned at our expo, a conference and expo, you can speak there. Manager education and homeowner education has a lot of different opportunities for our industry professionals to speak. Our chapter puts out a speaker application once a year. You can also always reach out to Jamie or Cheryl and say, I'm interested and I have an idea. You can administer an exam, or you can teach a course, Kara. And then you can attend different organization seminars and review or help develop different classes and workshops. That's just some of it. And then obviously we talked about reviewing articles and writing articles. So that's all that criteria in that section 2 I was talking about, that we're telling you, don't wait until you're done with the 6 courses to go fill this out and find that you are lacking these 55 points, because you won't be able to move further.
I also think for the people on the call who maybe don't have a license yet or are still considering doing that, hearing these may sound like they're kind of out of reach, but I will tell you, like, in any industry, I don't think 6 or 7 years is really that far out of reach. From start to PCAM is actually pretty quick for a career. But your steps to getting a license can also be done virtually. The M100 class is completely virtual. And the CMCA testing is done basically on whatever schedule works for you through a testing center. So it's not something you'd have to wait for. Anybody on this call could theoretically obtain a CAM license by the end of the year if they were so motivated to do that. So I just, I think it's important to say that even if you're sitting in a customer service role right now or an assistant community manager role right now, this is a very realistic, very doable thing on your own time that can take your career truly to the next level. I will tell you, I was mind blown to find out the difference in what it would cost me to obtain a CAM license and what it could do for me salary wise and career wise for my schedule and everything else. I think everybody on this call has a family and can attest for the fact that it's a career that works very well for outside life as well, for work-life balance. I mean, every manager is certainly busy, but I think you kind of want that from a career to prove that you're necessary to be there. But there's a lot of benefits to people who may be on this call who aren't already in that career, to think that, it isn't something where you have to go to 4 or even 2 years of school. This is something you could realistically do within the next couple of months if you were inclined to. And I'm certain that everyone on this call who works for a management company, there is some support level at that company to help you through that. So if that's something you're interested in, I truly think just tell your supervisor, I want to do this. What can we do as far as, my schedule to make sure I have time to focus on that, or a reimbursement program, or what if I want a CAI membership to take some of the other classes? Because through our organization, you can get continuing education credits from any topic you want. There's no set path for that. So like I said, I just want people to know this isn't an out of reach career path that's going to take you years and tens of thousands of dollars. It's very, very doable and very attainable pretty much at any time you want to take that step for yourself. And same thing for AMS classes, they're online. If you're a current CMCA, it's 2 classes for an AMS and satisfies almost, I think if you take 2, it's almost all of the credits you need for your CMCA renewal anyway. So it kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. But, PCAM is definitely the highest level, but even that, to think about what most people are going through in a regular college course, you could be all the way to your PCAM in that same amount of time. So I just wanted to say that, because there are a lot of people on here, from assistant managers to call center representatives, and everyone's equally important and equally capable of achieving the things that the people on this call. You could be sitting here giving this webinar in a couple years if you really wanted to.
Absolutely. And I think it's one of those career choices too that you make, and understand that becoming community association manager, you have flexibility. Like we stated, our designations that we have spoken to today are nationally and internationally recognized. When you go to take your CCA exam, it is not Illinois specific. It is a national exam. So you can take what you've learned here, and should your life take you somewhere else, you can still take your career with you, and you don't have to start over.
That was my next question was, are these certifications transferable? But before we get to that, I just want to touch quickly on what Jamie just said. I am somebody who my path back into property management can almost illustrate this point that Jamie was just making. So when I left Lieberman and the construction side, and I went to work for my family business for 3 years, I actually, during my 3 years away, was when I joined CAI. I wasn't even in the industry, but I knew that I wanted to investigate it. And what happened was I actually took my M100, got my license before I even had a job or an interview in property management. And it was one of those things where I had friends who were in the industry and said, look, I'm going to get my license. I'm going to go through this. I'm going to get my certification. If you have something that comes along, if you have a property that you think I would be a good fit for, let me know. 6 months later, I get a call and say, hey, we should go out to breakfast. And then that just kind of evolved into me coming back into it. So you really, the whole aspect of getting into becoming a, community association manager and getting licensed, you don't even necessarily have to be working as a community association manager. You can get that and then move into the industry. So there really is very simple pathways in, and a lot of different avenues. But back to what Brittany was saying, I did have that question of, are my certifications transferable to all 50 states if I choose to move or relocate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's an amazing career, and you can do so many things with it. And, we have a lot of national companies now, and you can relocate with your company and take that designation with you. And we are so involved internationally, so you could even do that, take your certification international. It's a wonderful career, and it's a lot of fun. It can be stressful, it can be all those things, but it's a lot of fun. I can attest to that. 33 years, ridiculous.
Now, Kara,
So
the
one thing I'll
license
say-
itself. Oh, go ahead,
Oh,
Cheryl.
We're probably going to say the same thing, but your certifications, designations are transferable, but your Illinois CAM license, if you were to move to one of those states that Kara mentioned, where it also requires licensing, that would not transfer.
Correct. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And even when you sign up for the M100 after you leave this webinar today, make sure you sign up for the Illinois version, because there is a small section that's added on to our state's M100, because we are Illinois, so we do have some unique laws.
Yes.
And
No
But-
surprise, I think.
of
Right.
course, and that's, to Kara's point, this is a career that's never mundane. It is constantly changing. And Gordon mentioned it too. Like, if you have a thirst for knowledge, this is a career you want, because you are constantly learning and it's
Yep.
constantly changing. And I think that's what makes me so passionate about it, is I wanted to be a forever student without constantly having to pay thousands of dollars and get graded on it without any feedback. And in this career, you have that opportunity. You have that opportunity to grow and constantly fulfill your thirst for knowledge.
I just want to
Agreed.
say something about kind of what Kara and also Brittany had touched on passion. My thing is that when I drive through a community that I managed or in the past managed, and I see something that I helped do, like let's say a project up, we redid their monument or whatever that project may be, you have a sense of pride when you're driving through there, that you were a part of that community, you were a part of that process to make that community beautiful. And I think that really, I think that's why I'm still in it, is because I love that passion, and I love to say, wow, I was part of that. I was part of that that beautification or whatever it was in that community.
Wow, you guys are just like feeding me so much beautiful information. My next question, and this will probably take us to the end here, but my next question for you guys as presenters is, it's about mentorship. Have you had like that one person who kind of like helped mold and mentor you into the process? Now, again, 2 of you were born into this, so that kind of, is innate into the growing up.
Yeah, but Kara's one of my mentors. Is that
But that's exactly it, because new people coming in, obviously we want to get connected and we want to be able to get involved and get to these committees, but we also want to find 1 or 2 people that really, that really can connect with, that we can connect with, that can encourage us. Have you guys had that experience as you were, growing and developing and moving towards your PCAM? Did you have a person or 2 that really helped you along the way?
And maybe how do you find that person? How does someone who's on this call find the right person, or ask someone to do that? What would be a way to find a mentor for this process?
Yeah, you have to participate. You have to start getting to know one another. There's even a not CAI sponsored event, but it's called the Chicks Golf Outing. And it is all of these women from the industry. Just that alone, you'll find yourself 5 mentors there. Go to the CAI Expo, talk to people, sit down at lunch with people you don't know. You see a presenter, go and ask them questions. We would love to help you in any way we can. Some of my very best friends are the ones I took all my classes with and traveled through to the PCAM designation. Those are my peeps, so they're everywhere. Mentors are everywhere. We love sharing our knowledge.
To that end, I have a document with everyone who's on this call, their contact information. I'm sure everybody here would be more than willing to talk to you further if you are somebody who's considering this career or considering further designations. So I will be sharing that. Feel free, Cheryl and I can answer anything about CAI or continuing education, whereas everybody on this call has a different path and a different experience level and set of skills. I'm sure that if you reached out to any one of them, they'd be happy to help guide you through or be that mentor for you as you're taking that journey, because it can be a little daunting to not know where to start and not feel confident in yourself. But I think a lot of people on this call already have some level of experience in this industry, and therefore already have a leg up on somebody who just finds this by chance. So
absolutely. If you're not doing anything this evening, I'm happy to talk with you in person from 4 to 6 at Ontario and Shelburne.
And it's free.
And it's free if you're not a member. But if you
With
are,
that being said, I just want to reiterate that a feedback survey is going out. I know some of you have a supervisor who set this up for you. That person's going to receive that and forward it on to you. I will have some helpful resources and links to where you can find some more of this information and some more free programs to attend if you liked this one. More importantly, there is a feedback survey linked there. We use that information to keep things like this going or to improve them for the next time. Please take, I think it's like a 2-minute survey to let us know how you felt about today and how you're feeling about this career in general. I would personally like to thank all of our presenters today who took their time out of their schedule to volunteer for this. It's an important thing that we have to keep reiterating to people in this industry, how important they already are and how important they can continue to be to this industry. So thank you.
I'm honored to have been asked, and I know everybody here feels that same way. So thank you for having us.
Thank you.
absolutely.
Right. Well, we hope to see you at the membership happy hour at 4 o'clock. Otherwise at maybe conference and expo. So thank you everyone and have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.